Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be evaluating this integral. So what is h of x? So these terms are called Heaviside step functions. So the definition is if you have h of x, the value will be 0 if x is less than 0. It will be 1 if x is greater or equals to 0. And the graph will be like this. So our his side function will be 1, okay, and then 0. Yeah. Okay, and so with that we need to look at the numerator first. For this integral, if we have h, let's call h1 as h of x minus 1. Okay, that implies h1 must be x minus 1. That means it's 0 when x is less than 1, and it's 1 when x is greater or equals to 1. Okay, same as h2. So h2 will be x h of x plus 2. So this will be um, h2. It's 0 if x is less than negative 2, and it's 1 when x is greater or equals to negative 2. So when we graph it, let's use h1 as this yellow. So it's 0 when x is less than 1. So when x is here, this is 1. So it's 0 here. Okay. When x is greater or equals to 1, so let's draw it as yellow then. X is greater or equals to 1, it will be here. So this is 1, and this is our h of 1 when x is greater or equals to 1. How about our h of 2? It's 0 if x is less than negative 2. So let's use red. If x is less than negative 2, that means it's here, right? So it's negative 2. Oh, sorry. It's negative 2. And we have 1 if x is greater or equals to negative 2. So it's here. And so on. So as we can see, it's divided into three intervals, three sections. So what we can do is this: when x here, so h1 minus is it, yeah, h1 minus by h2, it will be something, something, something. First, let's check when x is less than negative 2. When x is less than negative 2, h2 will be 0, right? H2 will be 0, and h1 uh, will be 0 also. So 0 minus 0 will be 0. How about in between negative 2 and 1? So negative 2 is less or equals to x, and it's less than 1. So in between that, it would be For h2 it will be 1, right? Because x is greater equals to -2, that will be 1. And for h1 it will be 0 because x is less than 1. So it will be 0 minus 1, which is -1. Next, we'll check when x is greater than, um, oh, when x is less than 1. Wait, no, x is greater than, yeah, the greater equals to 1. So when x is greater equals to 1, our h1 here will be 1, but our h2 here will be 1 also. So 1 minus 1 is 0. Okay, so we can split this integral into when x is less than -2, so negative infinity to -2 of our what function? Ceiling function. Ceiling function of x, um, and over our h of x plus 1, h of x plus 1, and add by 1 times 0 dx, and add by from -2 to 1 of our ceiling times -1 all over h of x plus 1 and add by 1, and then plus by integral x 1 to infinity of ceiling times 0 over x of x plus 1 plus 1. As you can see, this will be 0 and this will be 0. Okay, now we just need to evaluate this. um, we know that the ceiling function uh, takes the nearest biggest integer in the interval. So if we have like 1.-2, we take the bracket at the right side, that the ceiling of the function would be -2. Okay, so in this case we have the interval between -2 and 1, right? In this case, -2 and 1. So we need to find the interval at the sections of the interval. So -2 and -1, and also -1 and 0, and also 0 and 1. Let's check. So when it's between -2 and -1, our ceiling will be -1. So -1 times -1, it'll be 1. Between -1 and 0, our ceiling will be 0. So 0 times -1, which is 0. For this one, um, our ceiling will be 1. So 1 times -1 is -1. Okay, so our numerator will be 1 if it's in between -2 and -1, and 0 if it's between -1 and 0. 0 to 1, it's -1 if it's between 0 to 1. Anywhere else, it's 0. So we can evaluate from -2 to -1. If our ceiling would be -1, so this will be 1 over our denominator, let's call it L, uh, let's call it h3 then. H3 plus 1, and then add by the integral -1 to 0 of 1 over h3, add by 1, and then add by the integral 0 to 1. Oh, this is supposed to be 0, sorry, that 0, and 0 to 1 of our -1 here over h3 add by 1 dx. This will vanish, 0, leaves us with this integral, both of this integral, plus by 0 to 1 of -1 over h3 plus 1 dx. So what's our h3? Our h3 is x plus 1. So h3 is between it's 0 if x is less than -1. It's 1 if x is greater or equals to -1. Okay, erase this. So from x less than -1, this will be 0. So this term, so h3 will be 0 here. That means integral -2 to -1 of 1 over 1 dx, because 0 plus 1 is 0, is 1, and then add by the integral where x is greater or equals to -1, 0 to 1, which would be 1 here. So it's 1 over 2, -1 over 2. So integral 0 to 1 over uh, negative, negative, and this would be 2 dx. Okay, solving the integral would land us in x, right? X between -2 and -1. Okay, and then add by actually minus by our a half x from 0 to 1. So our this one will be -1 plus 2 minus by a half, and then minus by 0, and -1 plus 2 will be 1 minus a half, and the resulting integral will be a half, or 0.5. So this integral from negative to infinity, negative infinity to positive infinity, it will be a half. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you.